Welcome back to the Spirit, Mind and Soul podcast. If you didn't catch my little announcement during the week, I did announce that this episode will be the last for a while. I'm going to take a little break from the podcast to focus on other content. The work that I do outside of the podcast focuses on overcoming emotional residue and limitations, the limited beliefs, any blocks essentially that hold us back from living a fulfilled life and reaching our dreams and goals. So I do want to focus on that for a while, but don't worry, the podcast will be back at the end of the year. I do have a really great episode today. I'm speaking with Jen, and Jen is a cold water therapist and retreat owner. She has a great story for you, how she completely changed her life, her whole world changed from working in the police force to doing the work that she does now. We would love your feedback in the comments. And here's Jen's episode. Hi Jen, so lovely to have you on the Spirit, Mind and Soul podcast, and looking forward to hearing your story in more depth. Obviously, your life now is completely different to, what your life path, what you thought it was going to be. So 20 years ago, being in the police, single mum, and I know you're going to tell us about the catalyst, what changed everything. So do you want to take us back there first to what life was like back then?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Karen, and thank you for welcoming me today just to share a little bit about my story and hope to help others to make them realise that we've all got everything within inside ourselves to be our best version. So about 20 years ago, I think it must have been about then, year 2000, I was a young mum with a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, and sadly my relationship broke down. It was completely unexpected. So suddenly I found myself as a single parent with a busy career and 2 young boys to care for. And I think as a result of me ploughing everything into my career and my children, and then slowly my back started to really deteriorate. So my spinal health really started to deteriorate. And I had, over a period of 8 years, probably 8 or 9 major spinal operations. But it's really interesting because now I see that my body was saying I needed some time just to be, some time to care for myself, to ensure that my own cup was full before I was caring for everyone else. I was always that matriarchal go-to girlfriend. So not only was I managing my own complex life, I was also helping so many other friends in relation to theirs, because they look from the outside and say, oh my God, she's so got it all together, this woman can give me some advice, and suddenly you're there serving everybody else. So I was in the police, which I absolutely loved, and I always say the police was a career that sort of made me, broke me, and they rebuilt me, because you are faced with a lot of trauma through helping and serving others and challenges. But I really enjoyed my policing career, and I became quite a senior police officer by the time I retired. But 7 years ago, I would say, was when there was a real significant change in my mental health. It was really instrumental in my changing my complete path. And so I'd gone from running, it was a bit of a strap line, running teams of over 100 remotely police officers, managing all the critical incidents, to not being able to run a bath. I literally had got so unwell. And it was when everything was going so well as well, like my children were settled, they were in university, I had no money worries. I'd manifested this most amazing husband, so we'd only been married a year. But that's when I became really poorly. And I can remember saying to the doctor, this doesn't make sense. I have no reason to be really, really ill. And I was quite depressed, and I had terrible anxiety. And she said, well, I blame your husband. I said, what do you mean you blame your husband? She said, well, you're now in a safe place that you can heal. And I thought, gosh, that is just so true. It's a bit like when you work so hard, you have a holiday and then you get cold. It's just, but this was magnified in so many levels. So about 7 years ago, I literally couldn't work. I'd just been promoted. It was the best position I'd ever had. I couldn't work, and I just needed to really dig deep, and just was exposed to so many different health healing modalities, and that really was the start of my journey into where I am today. I started with Reiki, breath work, meditation, mindfulness, cold water exposure. And I did go to a lot of retreats when I was trying to heal, because I had quite a period of off work, and I really wanted to find out what was wrong and how I can help myself. And I can remember going to these retreats thinking, I could do this. Gosh, I could do this. I want to do this. This is my calling. And I can remember even saying to one lady at this retreat 7 years ago, I'm going to do this. And she actually came with me to Italy last year, thinking, gosh, she was there when that seed was first sowed. And so it's just changed so much. So I've gone from being a really busy single parent, running a career and some side hustles, and then having this monumental breakdown, to just healing myself, learning these modalities. But without a shadow of doubt, this was for a reason. And what's interesting, which I'd mentioned to you before, is that my body was telling me you needed to slow down. I think that's why I had so many back issues. It was telling me I needed to be in the moment, stop worrying about the past, stop fretting about the future, just be. And I didn't listen. And they say that if you don't rest, the universe will decide when you need to rest. And it certainly did 7 years ago, because I literally couldn't do anything.
Yeah. And did you find out what it was? Did you get any sort of diagnosis, or did you?
So I had severe depression and high functioning anxiety. It might have been connected to perimenopause. It probably was connected, I feel, to being in fight and flight for at least 20 years. Right. The cortisol levels were really high. The fight and flight was just this constant state of do, got to get it done, pressures everywhere. And what happens is that when my serotonin had just completely run out. And so serotonin and dopamine, as we know, are really, really important for your mental health and for your feeling of wellness and bringing you into that calm and restorative space. And I just was never in it. I was just in fight and flight for such a significant period of time. And I think your body can only take so much. It sort of goes back to 200,000 years ago. Fight and flight was really important. We needed at least 20 minutes to be able to escape from the predator, but actually 20 minutes is all you need to be in it for it to be of benefit. You don't need to be in it for 20 years. And that's where I was. And so I just learned some beautiful techniques. Definitely the breath has been instrumental in my healing, because you single-handedly with the breath can take yourself out of fight and flight into that calm and restorative space. And and now I provide spaces for my career as a consequence of my own journey.
Yeah. I think so many of us that are in this sort of line of work, the health and wellness and the alternative healings, I think it's because it's something that has helped them. So were you interested in, Reiki and, all this, I guess what would be called alternative healing methods? Was that something that interested you before, or was it something you felt you had to turn to because nothing else was working?
I think it was, I really struggled. I always enjoyed yoga, and I enjoyed juicing. So I used to go juicing, and I enjoyed that detox aspect, but I really struggled with the meditation. So at the end of a yoga class, I used to just almost sometimes just get up and leave, because the meditation did not work for me, because my mind was just always so active. But actually meditation can still work with an active mind. It's just about being mindful and just understanding we've got thoughts, and then just coming back to the breath. So it had been something I'd always been interested in, sort of looking after myself, but I think I was always secondary to that. So, and I can remember speaking to someone once, they said, why are you so unimportant? You can't put yourself first to give yourself an opportunity for an hour's exercise every day, but you can find an hour for everybody else. And I thought, God, that's really true. So I think a part of that healing was actually realizing the first place I had to start was me, through self-love. Because no flower grew without love. And that's that's when I did the first realization how I can heal myself. And I still manage my mental health on a daily basis, but I have so many tools now. I know after my breath and my meditation, my walking, drinking water, getting in the ice, however anxious I wake up, I know that I will be able to completely and utterly reverse how I'm feeling, to giving that instant boost with the dopamine. And so it's something I've been a little bit interested with, nothing I'd explored or been able to actually master.
And just going back then to what you'd said about, obviously, because I think so many people can relate, our lives are so busy, we don't listen to the initial, when your body's communicating, when you get that little pain, or, it's just your body's way of saying something needs to be addressed here, but we can just ignore it and we just get on with our lives until eventually it's screaming at us for, to pay attention. But I guess I just, what made you not go down the route of prescription, or what made you?
And I did go down that route of prescription, 100%. Like, obviously I had spinal operations. I had a few operations on my hip and my feet. I had a gynae operation. I know. And I think that, they're obviously needed, otherwise I wouldn't be having them. And when I was really unwell, I really didn't want to go on medication. I did go on antidepressants, and I had cognitive behavioural therapy, but I did that alongside doing the inner work as well. And I'm not one for saying don't go on medication, but now what I know is if I had probably exercised more, and if I had had a more healthier diet and less sugar and less alcohol, then maybe I might not have even needed to be on the medication if I had started off with that initial real space of self-love and really genuinely care about how much I move and what I consume. But obviously this is all part of the growth, isn't it? And this is all part of actually becoming well. So, but now I'm completely medication free, and I have been for about 5 years. Yeah, nearly 5 years. So I was only on them for a really short period of time, and then I just found alternative ways to sort of manage my mental health and just increase my dopamine and serotonin, and just reduce the cortisol, reduce the fight and flight. Yeah.
So then what came the point where you thought you were going to leave the police, and then this was going to become your new career, I guess,
Yeah.
or your new passion, your
Yeah.
purpose?
Yeah, so I knew about 7 years ago. So I left the police in the year 2000, and then I went back because they asked me to go back to continue managing a program that I brought in, which was absolutely fine. But I was setting my business up whilst I was doing that. But I had come to the end of my policing career, and I knew that I was ready for the next chapter. I knew I was ready to become just more of it, just more holistic, and just more into this path of just healing others, even though I was doing sort of Reiki whilst I was working in the police, and I was doing meditation and things like that. But yeah, so it was quite interesting actually, because I'd visualized this space that we could create, and I can remember saying to my husband, right, let's just see if we can make it happen. And we go on Rightmove, you know how you dream. And my parents lived in West Wales. My mum fortunately has recently passed, but had Parkinson's, so we wanted to live nearer to my mother, but also near the coast. Yeah, and we just found this amazing space right on the sea. I thought it's just the perfect space to hold in a retreat space, perfect to provide this just real luxurious space to nurture. And and then seedlings just developed from there. And since then, I've just so much has grown. When you're on your path and you're starting to become even weller, so many more opportunities fall your way, and so many beautiful people come your way. And so, and we offer this amazing space now where we run retreats, day events, and then weekend events in Wales and North Wales, and week events in Italy. And we just provide like breathwork and meditation. I collaborate with lots of local people, so it's bringing work into the community as well. And we're just like helping so many people in the community just to bring them into this really calm and restorative space. And the demographic is so wide. We've got lots of ladies in their 20s, because I know, and then also we've got ladies that are in their 60s and their 70s, because everyone needs just a little bit of guidance on how just to slow down. Because actually, I used to feel really guilty around rest. And for me, oh God, I was always brought up to say, come on, sitting down is lazy, but rest is equally as important as doing. We're human beings, not human doings. And actually, when you rest is when you heal. So if you can find some time to feature some rest throughout your day, or you can feature some movement throughout your day, it will just help you. It will serve you, and it will just give you more vitality and more strength and more capacity then to be better, a version of yourself, a better mother, better employee, better sister, better wife. It's just, and until you've actually gone through it and come out, you think, oh, it is quite simple, but it's just so culturally we're here just to serve everybody else.
Yeah, I think so many people can relate to that, because there's always something that needs doing, especially if you're a parent as well. There's always something that needs doing, or someone needs seeing to, or, work, or you can't take your mind off the next thing. So yeah, I think so many people can relate to that. And I used to be, and then I hit burnout. I hit that brick wall, and I was doing too many things, and something had to give. And probably that's when I started listening more to my body as well. And now when my body says you need rest, I have no problem resting. I know it's for my greater good, and I know I'll be better at the next thing that I'm going to do because I've had that rest. So, and it's nice. We deserve it. We work hard, and
Totally. And some people might say, I haven't got the luxury of rest, but rest doesn't necessarily mean you have to be horizontal. It could mean maybe you have find just to read a book, or you just find time just for some quiet, just to try and, but also rest could still be a walk. You know, it doesn't have to be being static. A rest could be just going on a mindful walk, but not with your put earphones in or scrolling on your phone, just noticing everything around you, just touching into your senses, just really being present. And yeah, it's just, if you can get into that habit of just, and something I sort of say to my clients is just tap into your own internal world. And people are going, what do you mean your own internal world? It's just about stopping, because you spend our life saying, how are you? Oh, fine. And you're always asking how everyone else is. So just stop and ask yourself, how am I today? And just start from your head to your toe and just scan, how am I feeling? What do I need? Because actually, if you're having that conversation with yourself daily, even if it's before you get out of bed, it's going to take not even a minute, you know. Then you think, well, actually, if I know what I need and I'm able to give that to myself, then I'm just going to be a better Jen today. I'm going to be a better Karen today. It is quite, it's just a very different mindset.
That's a good tip, actually, for anyone that, just to take that minute or two just to sit and, like you say, scan what's going on in my body, what thoughts are coming up. Yeah, I think it's journaling for me. So I journal
Yes.
to get, to see, okay, what's going on today, what's coming up. And I always recommend that as well. But yeah, I like that. And I think something else, if we're waking up and we're picking up our phone, if we're constantly finding we need to keep ourselves busy, what is it we're avoiding? Is there something going on that we don't want to sit with?
Yes. And I did that all the time. It was just avoiding. I would completely dive myself into everyone else's problems to try and solve them all, just to avoid my own inner chaos. You're easily done. And sometimes that can take a lot of inner work. And I always, really believe that, the shadows, or the really deep times you've got to dig deep, they're so important, because they make you and they frame you to who you become. And until you've experienced that real deep challenging times, then you can really start to appreciate the good times. You really appreciate that light that comes through. And and I think, as you say, most healers or most people that have gone into a holistic space have got their own backstory, and that's why it happens. It happens for that, because it helps you so much to empathize with people. It helps you so much. And I can almost see people thinking, God, I could give you so many tips to help you. I can see which route you're going down. Let me help. And it's just really, really lovely space to be in, to be able to just provide a really safe space just for people just to be their authentic self. And there's always lots of tears, there's lots of laughter, but that's part of life, isn't it?
And it's a lovely, obviously, to meet like-minded people, because I think you say there's always tears, and I know, because whenever I go to something like this, it's a way for me to just release and let go, and because I know that there's no judgment, we're all there for our own reasons, and it's sometimes, even though it's often strangers, that there's going to be support and encouragement, but I always feel sometimes you can't say to your friends and family the things that you can share in that space. Yeah,
absolutely. And I agree totally. And you're there because there's a common thread. You usually find they sort of say your vibe attracts your tribe. So usually, everyone that's attracted to what we offer, they're all so similar, and humans are just so similar anyway. We've all got grief we're dealing with, navigating, we've got heartache, we've got stresses and strains. We've all got very, very similar challenges in life, whether we've got an abundance of money or whether we're short of money. We still have so much the similar challenges, because we're only human. And actually, to be able to show that vulnerability, I always ask for egos to be left at the door. There's no place for egos in our space, because they're not needed. They don't serve us, and I had to have a bit of an ego when I was in the police, because otherwise I'd be completely battered down, surrounded by so many. But that ego just morphed into more of an inner power and an inner strength, and just a warrior woman sort of thing, really. But it's just finding that time, isn't it? And just being kind to yourself. And we do work on a lot of, and that was one of the first things I did in healing, was working on my internal narrative. It's about the positivity, the affirmations, because your subconscious does not know what's happening or what you're saying. And actually all of your thoughts who do they belong to? Where do they come from? Actually hardly very few of your own thoughts are your own. So just by constantly working, a bit like your journaling and your affirmations, working on that positivity really has helped a lot as well. And that's where my journey, actually thinking about it, where it initially started, was just positivity. And I've always been, my glass is half full rather than half empty. I've always been because it's just so much easier. It's just the vibe that I like, and the energy, the vibration that I carry. So
yeah. And I think that's important what you just said about your subconscious mind believes what you feed it, whether it's
totally.
positive or negative. So you may as well start, that's why positive affirmations work. It will start looking for the evidence that it's true, and it will find it, whether it's good or whether it's not so good, it will find it. So you might as well feed it all the good stuff, and it will start to find
Absolutely. It's
the
like a
evidence that it's true.
self-fulfilling prophecy, isn't it? I can remember when my husband left, and I was only young, and I thought, oh my God, end of my life. But no, it's not. It was the beginning. But I can remember thinking, I'm not going to be negative about this, and I always had a positive view on the marriage that we'd had, and it just really helped me just move on and just find love again. So, and if you just constantly go over those same thoughts, you're reliving it. You're just keeping your body in that trauma. So it's really important to try and work on your inner. And I've got this saying, and I don't know whether you might want to cut this out, but I always say that you wouldn't let arseholes live in your house, so don't let them live in your head.
Yeah.
So just be kind. So my mantra is, you just speak to yourself internally like you'd speak to a small child that you love. Because why do you not deserve to be spoken to as kindly? So there's lots of little tips that you learn along the way, and just start with that internal narrative, and and that's really helped me. And then as a consequence, obviously I was working on my mental health and my spiritual health. I've since, in the last 14 months now, been working on my physical health, because I always knew that would follow, but I found the mental health more challenging and much more deeper work to do. And I've lost nearly 8 stone in the last 14 months on my fitness journey. So it's just been this complete, and I feel, and that's just been such a journey, because I have struggled, and I've been a yo-yo dieter, and I used to look at food for my dopamine. Obviously now I don't. I look at my exercise and my ice and my breath. So it's been a really lightning achievement, as in not only physically but emotionally, into have become just a healthier version. And and it's just been wonderful to have gone through that journey. And now, and I was saying the other day, and it's sort of hit a few of my clients, was bodies are so beautiful, bodies are so strong, bodies are so powerful. And my body was carrying 8 stone too much, and it never made me ill. I never had any, I didn't have any illnesses. I didn't have any diabetes. I didn't have any high blood pressure. My body was just waiting for my mind to catch up and care. And now my mind has, and now I'm caring for my body, and I'm the healthiest version. And now I just feel like I'm a more clearer channel, and I've got so much more capacity now to heal. So, and heal others. So it's just been a monumental journey, So people don't recognise me when I walk past them in the street now, which is quite handy if you don't want to speak to someone. It's just like, because it's just happened over a short period. But I just sort of went on the Francis diet, which was amazing, and I've become one of his ambassadors. So that's a lovely achievement. So it's funny how things just fall into your way when you're on your path, and the breath has just been amazing. And I'm on the Breath Source app, which has been a wonderful sort of an international breath masters app, and it's just all these things are just filling my heart with love and helping others. That's the common thread.
Yeah, I think for anyone who is, it's when you focus on your outcome, when all, negativity, when everything else, you just put it, not going to focus on that, and you focus just on your desired outcome. And I think also surrendering to how it unfolds as well, it allows you to let everything in. So like you say, everything's happening now and everything's unfolded, because if you just have, this is what I want, this is my desired outcome, and focus on that, just surrender to how that happens. And I wanted to ask, I think it's really brave. You've essentially given up your old life to focus on this one. So do you have any tips or advice for anyone who wants to give up? It could be a career, it could be a marriage, or anything that's weighing them down, that's no longer serving them. How do you just give that up and take that scary leap into the unknown?
Yeah, and it is. But the thing is, growth only happens when when you're uncomfortable. You need to
Mm-hmm.
push yourself out your comfort zone, and then some. And and I can appreciate some people say, "Well, I haven't got the luxury of changing my career because I need to earn that income." But I think for me, it's about doing what really sets your heart alight. We're alive for such a short period of time. So, and if it's something that you can't suddenly change your job, but just what do you enjoy? What really lights you up? Because when you find something you love, you never work a day in your life. Which actually you could say, when you find something you love, you work even harder. However, you don't feel like it's work. I don't know how you feel about what you do, but, I
100% agree.
just give my heart and my mind and my soul. And my husband's saying, you're working really hard, but I love it and you're doing good. So if you find something that you really love, and just, whilst I was doing my policing career, I was learning new things, and I was just, learnt my Reiki to start with, and learnt my meditation and my mindfulness. And then I'll be doing it all with my friends and my family, and come on in, let me try this. And then eventually you'll find yourself in a position. And when you just, and it's about how do you want to feel? Because some people say, well, I don't really know what I want to do. And I just say, okay, just peel it even back further. How do you want to feel? Actually, I want to feel contented. I want to feel at peace. I want to feel empowered. Okay. And then from that, what changes in your life can help you feel like that? And I always knew that I wanted to eventually meet somebody really amazing, but I didn't and I very much believe in the manifestation, and almost, so when you are visualizing and imagining what you feel, just put yourself that you're living in that life. And so I always knew I wanted to be a European retreat host, and I just would say, just say it out loud, I'm a European wellness retreat host. And it felt good. And now I am, and I'm running them in Europe. I want to be an international breathwork master. Even when I'd first learned breathwork, next minute I'm on an international breathwork app. I remember somebody said, do some inner work, talk to especially this is a really good point. So if you're really struggling with your weight, and I was really struggling, and I just thought, God, it's just so hard when you've got so much to lose. I think the hardest place is when you've only got one or two, because you can get away and just cover it and you just feel great. But when you've got a lot to lose, and someone said to me, in a manifesting woman, Esther, Miss Manifestor, amazing human, said, talk to your 75-year-old you is now going to talk to you. So it's a bit like, you do your inner work when you go back to your 8-year-old self. Your 75-year-old Jen is now going to talk to you. What is it going to say? What are you going to say? And I did this work, and my 75-year-old self was really slim and really fit and really healthy. And I didn't know I was going to embark on this journey then, because it was a few months before. And my 75-year-old self said, thank you for looking after me. And then I thought, suddenly thought, God, this just makes so much sense. It's about just care for yourself, to look after yourself. And then if you've got a big weight loss to lose, every day is day one. Don't worry about 6 months ahead. Just worry about the day that you're faced with. Just make healthy choices, eat clean, eat as healthy as you possibly can, obviously down to what you can afford, because obviously, and then each day is your first day. Because I think, I go back on my pictures now and my videos, me walking, and it was really hard to walk with 8 stone. The other day I was on holiday. I could talk for England, by the way. The other day I was on holiday, and I was pulling 2 suitcases, and there was 23 kilograms in each suitcase. And it was blinking heavy. My husband was loving the fact I decided I was going to pull the suitcase because it's doing exercise. And then I stopped and went, oh my God, this is how much weight I've lost. I've lost 46 kilos. I can just about drag these suitcases along. And this is what I was carrying a year ago. But just take each day as day one. And the kilos will slowly come down. You'll slowly become healthier, and you'll have more energy. It's just,
Yeah,
and just reach out if you need any help.
Yeah, and that's a great tip, and I think that can be applied for any aspect of life
Anything.
as well. Just take one day, don't focus too much in the future, just every day, and take,
Yes.
whatever steps you need to take that day to get you to
Yeah,
the next day, and
totally.
they all
Yeah.
add up, and you become more confident with each one as well.
You do, and everything becomes a bit clearer, and it slowly becomes, it's like it's become a reality. You're living it, and I think the moment in relation to my weight loss, looked very, I always thought I was fat. And I can remember my coach saying to me, and it's just a massive light bulb moment. He said, "You're not fat. You're carrying fat. And fat is just an overconsumption of energy. Like, energy is a calorie." And I thought, God, I'm not fat. This is such a temporary thing. And then I just thought, right, I'm just going to burn off this energy I've overconsumed. And when I looked at it like that, I started to love myself so much more. And it's, so that's another tip. I've got hundreds.
Because that's an affirmation in itself. I am
Totally.
fat.
It's
It's not a good one because
it's an awful affirmation, and I think it started from childhood. And I wasn't fat then, I wasn't overweight then, but it was just become a self-fulfilling prophecy, because when I was slim and beautiful and under the age of 10, I just felt that I wasn't, and it's just tragic, but it's all sorted now, and it's all, it just takes time, doesn't it? Just time, and if you can learn from your own journey and share just a few pearls of wisdom each day, then that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. It's about helping others. Why would you experience hardship and not be able to exchange your wisdom or your experiences? I think that's quite selfish. Yeah.
So how can people come and work with you then? Can they do it online, or is it your in-person retreats?
Yes. So I offer, so they can, if they'd like to come and experience a retreat, then obviously just reach out. I'm on Seedlings Retreats and Holidays, and I'm Breathe to Be on Instagram, and I'm Jennifer Bailey-Hobbs on Facebook, and Seedlings Retreats and Holidays on Facebook. We can leave all these links anyway.
Yeah.
So I offer day events, but people can come and stay, sort of beautiful accommodations. So they come and join a wellness event. I offer workshops from my home. I offer weekly breathwork classes and restorative yin, which is wonderful. Went off to Costa Rica and did the most amazing restorative yin class, and did my first class last night. And I've had loads of messages today saying, "Oh my God, I slept so well." So that's just beautiful. But also, if they're wanting to access my work online, I'm on the Breath Source app, which is a fabulous app, and you can download it for free for a week. And then on there is the world's international breathwork masters on there, and it's all different modalities and it's all different techniques. So I'm on there. They can also come to me for one-to-ones, and I can do that remotely. And also, if anyone wants some guidance or some advice on weight loss, then obviously they can look at the Francis diet, and I'm one of the ambassadors, and there's a group of ambassadors there that can really help people from those really dark places of starting to actually, and just continuing, as I said, day one. So there's lots of different platforms that I can be reached upon, and I just love to, hear anything, and I give a lot away for free as well, because it's just, but I'm here to serve and here to support others on their own journey.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all of that. And
Wonderful.
I do encourage people to come and chat with you and get in touch. Your retreats sound wonderful. But I think by the time this goes out, I'll be living in the States, so I might be a bit
amazing.
to join you. Yeah.
I've got lots of lovely, I connected with lots of beautiful ladies on my last yoga course, so I'm planning to go to the States. So yeah, we'll have to connect and do and breathe together on the beach somewhere.
Yes, we will. That's my favourite place. So yeah, we definitely
definitely connect. We'll do a podcast from the beach. We'll put it out there.
That would be bliss.
Oh, thank you so much, Karen. It's been absolutely
you're welcome.
lovely.
You're welcome, Jen. Just one more question that I wanted to ask for you. So obviously you're doing all this work now for other people. Is there anything in the future, any dreams or goals that you've got that are just for you?
Oh, yes. So our big dream is to sail, to go off sailing. We're both sailors. My husband's a sailor, and we're manifesting this beautiful boat so we can go off. But we'll still be serving at the same time. So we'll be sailing, but we'll be delivering the breath and then the meditation and the ice baths, sailing around. So that's our biggest dream. And I'm hoping, I'm manifesting that. I want that to happen in the next 5 years. So the business will still be, it will just remorph into a different beast, but we're be on the water.
Wow, that sounds bliss.
Yeah. You never know, you might get to America along the East Coast.
Yep. Yep, but I'll be Texas, but yeah.
Texas, I'm happy with that.
Yep.
Thank you
so much,
Jen.
Thank you,
and you have a wonderful,
much for sharing that. Yeah.
Thank you. Have a wonderful life. Take care.
You too.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed listening to this episode and Jen's story. All details on how to contact Jen, her retreats, everything you need is all in the description below. I do highly recommend going and checking out her work. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. You'll be notified when new videos come out and also when the podcast is back. If you enjoyed this episode with Jen, please hit that like button. And thanks again for listening.